welcome to the archive. My name's Glenn. I'll be your host for today, and with me is James, Chanel, and Janelle. Today we are going to be looking at the 1927 movie Metropolis, the anime movie Ghost in the Shell, 2001: A Space Odyssey, and Desert Friends. Fritz Lang's Metropolis, filmed in 1927, is a German expressionist science fiction film. Based in a futuristic dystopian land dominated by capitalism, the story follows a rich young man, Frieda, son of Joe Friedeson, founder and controller of Metropolis, and a young girl portrayed as the messenger of hope. Metropolis was a long film, but it did breach a constant argument that is very relevant in today's society: government over commoners, the fight for equality and better pay. So first of all, what was your reaction to the film? What did you think of it?
I liked it.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see what in the beginning they took out of the movie, because it was very long. It would have been interesting to see which parts they decided weren't necessary to be put in there in the first screening. But yeah, I liked it as well, especially because it was a silent film.
Yeah.
You don't see any of those.
Yeah, that was the first silent film I'd seen, and I liked how the music was all really dramatic, and it kind of got you really invested in the movie.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah, I found that without anything in the way of dialogue, it allowed you to focus more on what was actually going on in the movie. They had to portray it through the actual scenes rather than through spoken dialogue and through subtitles.
And I liked how it did have a backstory, how Rotwang, the scientist, actually knew Fredersen, the guy that's in charge of Metropolis,
Yeah.
and how they both loved the same woman, and that created the machine who ended up dominating most of the movie.
Yeah, they had a huge backstory, and because of the lack of dialogue, you could actually tell the backstory just from the way that they were acting towards each other. They acted the entire backstory out through them.
Yeah, well, for me, it's the first silent film I've seen as well. I thought it was really unique and really quite interesting how well it conveys that to an audience looking from our generation back to the 1927 film.
What did you think about the way that the film portrayed stereotypes between the male and female characters?
Well, there's a strong patriarchal sense within the film, how women are treated below men, and men are seen as the leaders in society, and it's a very key theme within the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was quite funny how Maria you had the good Maria, and then you had the bad one, which was the robot. It was as if women have to be either
be one or the other.
You can't be just normal. You have Maria who wants to sort everything out, and then bad Maria who just wants to wreck everything.
And what do you think about the differences and similarities between the 1927 movie Metropolis and modern theatre?
Well, I guess you've got the lighting, the way lighting's used within German expressionist films such as, say, Nosferatu as well. Metropolis, it's lots of because it's a silent film, you need to portray a larger the meaning of it all has to be conveyed in a much more direct way to the audience, because you don't have the assets that we have in modern society now.
I liked how it was quite similar to the actual theatre productions, how because they can't speak they have to overcompensate, and their body language and their facials,
yeah.
The whole Fredder doing his little run thing throughout the whole movie. it was really comical, and it was really funny.
The whole running scene when she was running away from him, throwing herself on the walls and on the ground. You could just run, that would be fine.
Yeah.
Some of the scenes did certainly seem very melodramatic, so to speak.
I think that gave it something more though. It was quirky.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it wasn't in a bad way. It was just kind of amusing. So to speak.
Looking back from now, how we see modern films, looking at that, it looks very, very dated the way it is. Even though at the time it's exactly how it would be.
Yeah, it has kind of a timeless feel to it almost.
Yeah.
So in closing, for each of the three of you, just to sum up, what do you actually think of the entire movie, and just a short reason why you either liked it or disliked it?
I liked it. I'm not sure whether I'd watch it again because it was so long, but yeah, I think it was definitely different, and more movies should be made like that.
Yeah, I think the length really phased me as well. But I did like it, especially having never seen something like that before. And I'd be quite interested to see other silent films as well after seeing that.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was a bit long, but I guess you can see from that where the framework of other future science fiction films have come from, the use of special effects as well.
It was like The Godfather.
Yeah, and I guess you can see how other directors have been influenced by Metropolis.
It could have been worse. It could have been equal in length to like World on a Wire or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to take a short break and then we'll be back with the next movie, 2001 Space Odyssey. Okay, and we're back, and now we're going to be talking about Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey. Now, thought by many to be one of Stanley Kubrick's greatest films and also the highest grossing film in North America when it first came out in 1968, 2001 A Space Odyssey is a science fiction movie that follows a team of scientists travelling on a space voyage to Jupiter, along with the artificially intelligent HAL 9000 computer, and delves into themes of evolution, technology, and artificial intelligence, and the perils linked to it, just to name a few themes. Now, again, what was each of your reactions to 2001 A Space Odyssey? What did you think of the movie?
It was pretty far out. It was a reflection, I guess, of the 60s and the whole psychedelic movement and things like the acid trips and the psychedelic surreal images. It's I really enjoyed that side of it.
Yeah, I appreciated that, but I just couldn't get invested in the movie itself. I was lost the whole time.
Yeah, I quite liked it. Like James, I liked the psychedelic part of it, like the images and the music, and it was just like a different experience, I guess, than everything.
Personally, I quite enjoyed 2001 A Space Odyssey. I've always been a fan of Stanley Kubrick's movies. It definitely didn't have much in the way of dialogue, and in some areas it felt very drawn out, but I felt it was ahead of its time. It showed some very realistic portrayals of what spaceflight might be like, with how the zero gravity was portrayed, the advanced technology with HAL 9000 being artificially intelligent, just to name a few things. What do you think about the lack of dialogue in some of the parts, instead using sounds and classical music, like for example Blue Danube, to portray some of the scenes?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. It's very 60s with the images and the music, and it's setting the tone, I guess, and the mood of it all, and it's quite out there. So it's exactly what you'd think of a psychedelic 60s experience.
I feel like I needed more dialogue. I needed something to help keep me in the story.
Yeah, I remember I was doing a bit of extra research for 2001 A Space Odyssey a little while back, and originally there was meant to be some dialogue in the last bit of the movie, like about the last 20 minutes, and it turns out that Stanley Kubrick actually deliberately cut out all the dialogue altogether from the last 20 minutes, and instead portrayed it purely through visuals and through music, and it seems like it made quite a bit of a difference from what the intended effect was.
I did like the ending. I mean, it was like completely different from everything that had been going on previously, and it was just very like calm. And it was strange. I liked it.
How do you feel that the technology and techniques used, such as the zero gravity shots, compared to modern cinema?
Oh, I think it's very ahead of its time. The movie when it was released, I guess it's you can see how influential it's been in modern cinema, and how techniques and styles, cinematic styles and cinematography have been used, that have sort of transcended and gone on to be used by modern directors to yet again show what they can do in their films.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of paved the way for future cinematic experiences and the effects that and kind of like imagery that new movies have used today. It's definitely kind of draws on aspects of that.
Yeah, personally I felt that it was kind of ambitious doing some of the zero gravity shots. I mean, naturally the technology wasn't as advanced back in the 1960s when it was first made, but they made quite a good job of showing some of the characters tumbling through space, and the way that well, in a couple of shots, how he seemed to be walking around the entire circle of the spacecraft. Like he was effectively walking on the ceiling in a couple of shots. So, in closing, again, what did you think of 2001: Space Odyssey as a whole, and what were your reasons for either liking it, disliking it, or feeling kind of meh about it?
It was definitely memorable, but I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed it, but maybe not. Don't think I would watch again. It was kind of a one experience kind of thing. I really enjoyed and appreciated the difference to other movies that it showed by the like the imagery and the sound and the soundtrack that it had. And I think that made it very memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very memorable film, and the way you can see the influence it's had on future films, and it's very unique film. I've not seen a film quite like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as I said earlier, personally I quite enjoyed the movie. I've always been a fan of Stanley Kubrick's works. I felt it was ahead of its time, but at the same time it's also the sort of movie that's an acquired taste. It's either you'll kind of be like me and enjoy it, or you'll pretty much absolutely hate it and you'll only want to watch it once just for the sake of being able to say that you've watched it. Okay, so that was our review on 2001: A Space Odyssey. When we come back, we'll be looking at the anime movie Ghost in the Shell. Welcome back to the archive. Now we're going to be looking at the anime sci-fi movie Ghost in the Shell. Cyborg Federal Agent Major Motoko Kusanagi trails the puppet master who illegally hacks into the minds of cyborg-human hybrids. Her pursuit of the man who can modify the identity of complete strangers leaves her pondering her own makeup and humanity. Would she be the same? What would life be like if she had more human traits? Assisted by her partner Kusanagi, they corner the hacker, but her curiosity about her own human identity leads the case in an unforeseen direction. Now, again, what was each of your reactions to this film? What did you think of the movie?
I have never really watched like that kind of movie before, and I was quite impressed. I mean, I was lost sometimes, but I liked it.
Mm-hmm. Have you actually watched anything in the way of anime in general before?
It was my first time, and it was pretty impressive.
It's a good one to start with.
Yeah.
I'd heard a lot about it and I'd been meaning to watch it for a while, and so it definitely lived up to my expectations. The kind of sound effects and the imagery, like the background artwork was absolutely stunning, and I loved that aspect of it.
Like some scenes you couldn't really tell that it wasn't a real thing.
Yeah,
I was like, wow.
It was beautifully done, and I really liked the way that it went about portraying the philosophical themes that surround artificial intelligence. Like what counts as human, what counts as consciousness, and it went about that in a completely original way, which I really liked.
I've not seen the anime film as well, but I thought it was very visually well done. I'm not really that into anime, but it for the first film to watch, I thought it was all right. It had some interesting themes in it, I guess the visuals of it was very effective.
I like the storyline too.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, it had quite a lot of depth to it. Like she wanted to find out more about herself. I just liked that.
How did you feel about the gender roles that were portrayed in the film?
I was kind of conflicted with this because her character was pretty much awesome. She could do amazing things. She was a great fighter. She was smart, but she was always naked. She was every time she got into a fight or something, her clothes would just disappear.
Or they were at the very least very tight fitting, which is funny as well. That if you'd become a cyborg, why you would
sexualize
of make it such a sexualized cyborg at the same time as kind of taking away any need for gender, you know.
So it's sort of throwing a humanity side to a robot, I guess, with the like the nudity and stuff in it. It's really quite different to how you'd visualise maybe a direct technology, direct robot sort of thing, where it's incorporating the ideas of humans, I guess, within a robot.
But I guess that it's humans that sexualize the body. So I guess because she is cyborg, or parts are of the cyborg, is that she doesn't see herself that way, and everyone that knows her doesn't see her that way as well. So it's not really a big deal when she is naked.
Yeah, especially at the end, you know, she gets given that small child's body. It makes you realise that
it's just a body.
It is just a body that they've given her, and so it kind of makes you question, like, why did they give her that body, whereas her partner didn't have a body that needed to be shown off quite that much. But then it was also that the way that she was, you know, stronger, and she had faster reflexes, and she was just kind of superior to the two other men that she worked with. Like, she kind of dealt with them almost like sidekicks, which is like
very,
a little
very,
role reversal for what you used to
she's
say.
very strong female lead, whereas the female lead's the main character within it, which I guess is historically not the conventional way you'd have a main character, which for me is quite interesting.
So it's very contradictory, and it's quite interesting to see like the parallels of the two pushed together.
Yeah, I liked as well how they didn't make her like practically fall in love with every guy that she meets, and so they didn't have her being like rescued or anything like that. She was her own person, and she'd done things for herself, and I liked that.
And it's with her being a robot, would she even be able to fall in love? It's kind of another question.
Yeah,
Of
it's
her
an interesting
humanity.
sort of thing to think about, I guess.
So, in closing, again, what did each of you think of the movie as a whole, and just a short reason why you either liked it or didn't like it?
I liked it, but it hasn't made me want to watch other movies like it. I probably won't watch it again.
Yeah, I really liked it. I'm quite a fan of anime, so I was really looking forward to watching this one, most of all of them. But no, I really enjoyed it, and I think possibly the thing that I just loved the most about it was the imagery and the artwork of the whole thing.
Yeah, I thought it was alright. I'm not an anime fan or anything, but I liked some of the ideas that were in it, and the way it had been done in a very unique way was quite interesting. Visually, it was really well done with the graphics, and with it's, I guess, the anime thing's a particular genre. But within, as someone who's not watched much anime, it was quite interesting visually to see how those themes were represented in that form.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so that was Ghost in the Shell. When we come back, we will be looking at Desert Friends. Welcome back to the archive. We're now going to be looking at the new media film, Desert Friends. Desert Friends is an example of new media film. Released in 2013 and 15-second clips on Instagram, we see how far we have come since the early sci-fi movies. It is an example of the development of technology and how directors are finding new mediums to reach their audience. Okay, so first of all, how have new media technologies been used?
Well, I guess you've got, particularly in Desert Friends, you've got a whole film that's just been done on an internet website. You've got a whole thing that's filmed on an iPhone. So I guess as technology has advanced, it's given us a different platform to convey movies to an audience. So it's created particularly like with an iPhone or something like that, it's given us more technology and more equipment to create like something like Desert Friends.
I thought it was very impressive, because on Instagram videos you can only use up to 15 seconds, and I was just you understood everything that was going on. It was very well done.
The amount of story you can get in 15 seconds was surprising.
The acting was
Yeah.
but everything else was pretty good.
Yeah, it's kind of, well, not everyone, but a lot of people use Instagram, and kind of showing us that you can use these kind of everyday social mediums to create works of art like this. It made it a lot more accessible for everyone. It kind of showcases just what you can do with the stuff that we have these days.
Yeah, it just goes to show that these days you don't need budgets of hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars to make a quality work. I mean, you've got this this work which was done, as was mentioned, in 15-second clips on Instagram, and you've also got movies like Four-Eyed Monsters, which was done purely on a single handycam.
Yeah.
How do you feel that gender roles are used in more modern films compared to some of the older films that we've looked at?
I think as society's changed, people demand a new type of film, not just the stereotypical male lead, something like, whatever, but something that's quite unique and quite different from mainstream or the former mainstream films. And things like this, the male characters are quite stupid compared to the female one. So it's an interesting way that it's conveyed, the ideas. I quite enjoyed how it was presented.
I liked that there wasn't really one main character. I liked how they it's like they all contributed to
Yeah, they're all equal parts.
Yeah, it was kind of like an interesting dynamic, the way that they did make the man kind of the stupid, kind of silly character, but then also at the same time that girl having a little bit of a hissy fit because her friend was the one that always got men, and
quite childish.
Like she was worried about having a man when she should be worrying about how to get back home from this desert planet. But it was definitely different in the way that it's modern, and that's, you have different ideals that you have to live up to these days.
Yeah, it's nice to see more movies breaking out of the traditional stereotype of having a strong male protagonist. You've got Ghost in the Shell, which we just looked at, which had Motoko, the female protagonist. You've got Desert Friends, which portrays female characters in a better light, and as you mentioned, it also portrayed some of the male characters in a more humorous light, so to speak. It's just kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
And how do you feel in general about this movie compared to the other movies that we've looked at?
I definitely want to watch the next season that they're having. I want to find out what happens. Do they get home? Does she give birth to an alien? There's so many questions that I want answered. So I'll definitely be watching.
Yeah, I think it's just so different to everything else that we'd been shown. It was very kind of refreshing, and I'd like to see what happens as well. I have to keep on top of that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's an expression of its time, with the technology used and the format it's presented on, and the way the audience sort of consumes what's given to them. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, personally I enjoyed it quite a lot. It was quite, as I mentioned earlier, it was quite refreshing compared to most of the other movies that are already out on the market, and it'll definitely be interesting to see what they come up with in the not too distant future, to see if they manage to keep up the quality of work that they've done so far. So that brings us to the end of our review archive. I'm Glenn.
I'm James.
I'm Janelle.
And I'm Chanel.
And we hope to see you again in the future. Bye.